So we're now up to the 10th Arcanum of the Mebes Tarot, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And this Arcanum really is the big one. It's much bigger than all the rest. He's really given a rundown of all of magic in the 10th Arcanum. So I'm not going to be able to read it all out, but I will read some of it. The sign of Arcanum 10 in the Hebrew alphabet is Yod, its numerical value 10, and the astrological correspondent, the zodiacal sign of Virgo. The hieroglyph of the Arcanum is the index finger of a person. This serves for the imperative gesture of a human being. If the latter is identified with microcosm by being considered as a closed system, the imperative gesture of the index finger will correspond to a manifestation from the inside out of this closed system. This meaning of Arcanum 10 is even more clearly characterized by the phallic form of Yod. The phallus, even more than the index finger, symbolizes the mentioned manifestation of the outwardly closed microcosm system. The card of the Arcanum is called Sphinx, or Rota Fortunae, Wheel of Fortune. In its upper part, it displays the image of the Sphinx, armed with a sword and resting on a motionless, fortified platform. A little lower, we see the Solomon hexagram, the sign of the macrocosm, rotating with the wheel that outlines it with its rim. The cage on which the wheel axis rests, in its lower part under the wheel, passes into a double caduceus. The wheel itself on the right side, mirror-like, with its rotation, carries up to the Sphinx the Hermanubis, which is a dog-faced creature, with a triple caduceus in its right hand. On the left, the same wheel carries down the crocodile to the body of Typhon, with a human head and a two-pronged, sometimes a trident, a two-pronged implement, in the left hand, pointing down. What, broadly speaking, does this representation mean? Some kind of closed system, gifted with processes of internal transformations. This system is crowned with the invariable, always uniformly valid, uniformly productive Sphinx method: to dare, to will, to know, to be silent, which means to reach the creative activity and the perfection of the astrosome. The mill of life, dominated by the square of these four guidelines, rotates uninterruptedly, taking some up and causing others to fall. Those who rise, like an Hermanubis, bearers of the sign of the great solvent Azoth, Caduceus, still keep the dog head, symbol of its anterior and inferior state, traces of uncontrolled impulsivity and evil instincts. Those that fall from the heights, like Typhon, are still slaves of the non-neutralized binaries. They nevertheless keep traces of former greatness, discovering in an unexpected way a human head, remnants of nobility, justice, fidelity, in the field of dark combinations that have little application to these principles, coexisting with the degradation, the crocodile body, caused by the degradation of the human principle. Here is a straightforward picture of the 10th major arcanum of tarot. The mill of transformations grinds and leads all of us relentlessly, and yet in this general process there is a clear and methodical higher motivation. It is sanctified by something higher. It does not matter that only the astral region is outlined in the picture. Our imagination will supplement it with spectacles of mental currents and the elementary, physical wheel of fortune. With the archetype and its high influences, we are connected by what is commonly called the testament. May the first headline of our arcanum therefore be testamentum. Mental principles flow through the area of this testament. In the midst of mankind itself, so to speak, in the sphere of its manifestations, we have the great wheel of tarot, leading to what the human race calls Kabbalah, that which serves as a verification tool for the construction of astral forms by us. This word, Kabbalah, will be the second title of the Arcanum. In terms of nature, we are dealing with the merciless wheel of fortune, otherwise called the world mill. This wheel grinds everything, assimilates everything, adjusts everything, lifting one, lowering the other, and, like any rotor, leaving nothing motionless, stationary, except for its axis, the name of which is the possibility of the existence of an illusion called matter. And so let there be a third heading, Fortuna. This is what nature gives us in the 10th Arcanum. In everyday courses of occultism, we often see this arcanum presented with other headings, Regnum Dei, Ordo, Fortuna. These names correspond roughly to the same ideas in a less defined form. The conception Regnum Dei, that is, Kingdom of God, whether it is the plane of manifestation, the period of maximum bliss, harmony and functional adaptation. The Kingdom of God for a planet will be the time of its greatest prosperity in the aforementioned sense. The Kingdom of God for a human being will be the time of greater harmony for the totality of their receptivity and activity. Of course, it must be remembered that the Kingdom of God for an entire organism may not coincide with the same epoch of the kingdom to one or another of their particular organs. The moment of this kingdom for our whole solar system, for example, may not coincide with the analogous kingdom moment for the planet Mars. I am inclined to consider faith in the Kingdom of God as a reflection of the testamentum in the mirror of hope. Ordo means order, but Kabbalah is the highest synthesis of the order of all astral manifestations that are accessible to us. As you can see, our headlines are no different from the generally accepted ones. Let us turn to the arithmetic analysis of the Arcanum. 10 equals 9 plus 1. A single manifestation is not by itself, but by 9 cliches, so to speak, by 9 reflections or refractions, characterizing it as its totality. Speaking scholastically, we perceive an object through 9 attributions. These 9 attributions are realized in one synthetic 10th manifestation, playing the role of a seed or grain of a particular object. Together, these two theses can be expressed by the following formulation. The essence of the subject is hidden behind the veil of its properties, and the properties are not felt on their own, but on something concrete. We will develop this thesis in the scheme conveyed to us by a certain tradition. The Sephirotic system. The essence of each object, according to the law of triplicity, manifests itself first and foremost by the ternary type of the Great Arcanum. The first manifestation has, like the object itself, that we imagine integrated, the neutral character, androgynous. This finding is sufficient to be able to determine the type of triangle formed by the 3 initial manifestations. In it, the second manifestation has an active character, the third passive, according to the scheme point Iodhe. This superior ternary is twice reflected in the form of ternary of the type of descending triangle. The whole system is synthesized in a concrete way in the 10th manifestation of the mentioned essence of the object. According to the law of synthesis, this manifestation will naturally have the androgyne. In general, we will have the scheme shown in Figure 35. The 10 manifestations marked on it call the Sephiroth of the object. Sephiroth is a plural of Sephira. The meaning of the word Sephira corresponds to number, the radiation, and visible. From this it follows that in each object we can discover 10 manifestations, or, in other words, that each object has 10 visible aspects. To illustrate this, let us take the example of a flashlight which, having 10 differently coloured glass sides, would present 10 different aspects of the same light. The 10 Sephira of the object constitute a kind of family. 10 Sephiroth objects make up a family, as it were, and in this family, Jewish Kabbalah distinguishes between 1. Supreme androgyne, or macroprosopus, 2. Father, 3. Mother, 4. Their child, represented by a combination of 6 Sephira, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, possessing androgyne features and bearing the name microprosopus. The centre of the functional activity of microprosopus will be the 6th Sephira, and the 9th is the organ of its activity. 5 is the spouse or bride of microprosopus, i.e. the 10th Sephira. So when he's talking about macroprosopus and microprosopus, there's an image that represents this, which is this. But after all, any closed family in the chain of causality will be preceded by some other family, etc., up to the primary source. Jewish Kabbalists ascended only to the family of the primordial Sephirotic system of the universe, considering this system as a manifestation of some incomprehensible essence, which we call Ein Sof, literally meaning without end. They did not allow the analysis of Ein Sof itself. The Rosicrucians allowed themselves to name not only the first Sephira of the universe, but also the members of the family placed between Ein Sof and these Sephira. So, in the Rosicrucian scheme, the incomprehensible, infinitely homogeneous, infinitely harmonious, almighty beginning expresses itself actively. So to speak, it wants to manifest itself by some yod, namely, what we will call transcendental love. This manifestation will be the father of the first family of the Rosicrucian scheme. This father, by his own aspiration, bearing the character of radiance, will determine the existence of some passivity, strictly proportionate to his activity. This passivity will be the first hay of the first family, what we will call the transcendental life. This element, in contrast to the radiant yod, should have a shadow character. This is something darkened, ready to receive the radiant influx of the unknowable, hence its Latin name restrictio, shadow restriction in the environment of infinite light. So, in our tradition, transcendental love, first father, impregnates transcendental life, the first mother. These Rosicrucian mystic entities give birth to the Logos, the transcendental word, the great architect of the universe, without whom there is nothing. The Logos emanates the second hay of the first family, manifested by the 10 Sephira of the second through the first of them, that is, Macroprosopus of the universe, called the Sephira of the crown, Kheta. Next are the remaining 9 Sephira of the second family in the so-called scheme of the 4 worlds. The world of emanations, Olam Ha-Atziluth, contains, as we see in the figure, the androgynous crown, Sephira, Kheta, Macroprosopa, manifesting itself as befits a balanced mentality, on the one hand, the totality of what aspires to knowledge, Sephira of wisdom, Hokmah; on the other hand, the totality of that which be known, which is the object of knowledge, the Sephira of mind, Binah, naturally limiting the previous one. In the world of creativity, Olam Ha-Briah, we meet with the active Sephira of mercy, Chesed, number 4, which is a reflection of the thirst for knowledge, that is, the expansiveness of the second Sephira, wisdom, and with the passive Sephira of severity, Peshad or Gebura, limiting mercy due to the finiteness of the field of objects of knowledge, the Sephira of reason, Binah. These Sephira are neutralized by the magnificence of the radiance of the Sephira Tifereth, world harmony, universal beauty. And what could be more radiant in ethics than the exact balancing of charity with severity, goodness with respect for law? Is not the excess of mercy burning with the intolerable fire of the sinner, forcing him to pray for justice? Cannot an excess of severity deprive of hope for the salvation of a lost memory of the family of souls? Mercy, commensurate with rigour, solves any ethical problem. Let us turn now to the world of formation, Olam Ha-Yetzirah. In it we see the victory of good over evil, spiritual over material, light over dark, activity over inertia. The active 7th Sephira Netzach, in which the initiate resides, faultlessly choosing the right path in the 6th Arcanum. But an active desire to choose the right path does not exclude the need for calm movement along the path already chosen, without feverish thirst, to rest in the conquered position in order to see the fruits of what has been well sown. Yes, you need to limit this powerful Sephira to the passive Sephira of glory or peace, Hod. This mysterious Sephira gives us a seemingly paradoxical combination of lack of movement with the presence of life. After all, to move means to meet new crossroads, and to live means to move, at least within the limits of our understanding of the material plane. The Sephira Hod puts us as if the thesis of life without movement. This is the great mystery, comprehended only in an ecstatic state. Victory and glory are neutralized by the androgynous, completed form, the foundation, Yesod, of any specificity, fundamentum omnium rerum. Indeed, in order for a form to exist, it is necessary to single it out, choose it. Victory is choice of path, so as to stop at it, which is peace and glory. Here is the process of creating the 9th Sephira Yesod projecting into the world of realities, Olam Ha-Asiyah, by the Sephira of the kingdom, Malkuth, that is, the embryonic state of the concrete world we inhabit. So we have the following distribution of the members of the second mystical family: Kheta, Macroprosopus, crown; Hokmah, father, wisdom; Binah, mother, reason. Microprosopus is a Sephira of mercy. severity, beauty, victory, glory, and form. Chesed, Geburah, Tifereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. The wife of Macroprosopus is the kingdom Malkuth. We draw attention to the system of projection of the Sephirah on the three vertical pillars, which can help our understanding. On the middle neutral column, the blow of the Logos, the great crown, is projected from the name of the archetype by the principle of beauty. Beauty is reflected by form, and form by concreteness. In the right, masculine column, wisdom teaches mercy and prepares victory. In the left, feminine column, the mind of things teaches justice and gives peace. Each of the second family Sephirah can be considered in itself as a closed system, and therefore has its own Sephirotic manifestations. These manifestations, again, lend themselves to analysis according to a Sephirotic scheme, and therefore we can say that these schemes will serve as the general template for analysing elements that are included in our course of esotericism. A pause here.